I really think that out of all the stuff that I've taught people, nutrition can have the greatest, most distinct influence on improving someone's health in their life. So today we're going to talk a little bit about science first, how the body works. That might be the boring stuff for a lot of you guys who just want the what to do. But I think it's important to understand why we're doing what we're doing, because there's so much stuff out there about diet and nutrition and what you're supposed to do that I know when I first was getting into this, it's very easy to be confused about what's the right stuff, what's the wrong stuff. So you're going to learn the why. The stuff that you hear is either something that is useful that you can actually utilize in your life, or why it's just complete nonsense. All right, so we're going to start by talking about what is good nutrition. So your packets pretty much go along. Most of what I talk about, I did put in there. Some of the details I may just talk about, but the majority of stuff will be in the packet. So the first thing we're going to talk about is energy balance. Okay, so energy balance is essentially calories in being equal to calories out. Okay, everyone can see that okay? All right, if you have that, your weight's not going to change. You're going to stay consistent, okay? If it becomes where the calories in are greater than the calories out, what do you think you're going to have? Weight gain. Isn't that crazy? Opposite way, right? It's weight gain. This would be weight loss. So this isn't rocket science, but it's not the only thing that can influence weight gain or weight loss. We're going to get into some of the other factors, but it's the easiest one that you recognize right out of the gate. And this is the one that why any type of diet usually does have some positive effect. Because whether you're doing the Atkins diet, the paleo diet, whatever diet, there's usually some kind of restriction on calories. So that's why really any of these fad diets will have some positive influence, even though it may be temporary on the person. Okay, and there's a good little graph that you guys have in your book where it just shows something along the lines like that, right? So at this point, this is when you're not eating enough and you have weight loss. Over here, you're eating too much and you have weight gain. Okay, and then right in the middle, this is what we're looking to reach. If you get right here and add exercise, then you are going to have that negative energy balance. So you don't necessarily need to starve yourself. That's an important understanding. Finding that energy balance with what you eat without starving yourself and then adding exercise will be enough if your goal is to lose weight. Okay? The other important thing to know is we're looking to eat nutrient-dense food. So what that means is food that have a lot of nutrients per calories. The opposite would be a calorie-dense food. Okay, so some examples of nutrient-dense food are things like vegetables, fruits, lean meats, chicken breast. And then you have the opposite. Calorie-dense is like cookies, bacon, butter, candy, okay, of good nutrition. Okay, there's three really important goals. You guys have this picture. I think it's great. My circles aren't going to be as pretty. Okay, but the three goals are performance, health, and body composition. Let's put body comp. Okay, so body comp is the one that most people always want to focus on. They want to look good. They want to look like they're losing weight. But there's a lot of supplements out there that will help you lose weight, but you will suffer in the other categories, whether it be your health or performance. You know, drugs a lot of times will improve your body composition, but they'll hurt in the other areas. Performance. You know, drugs a lot of times will improve your body composition, but they'll hurt in the other areas. So it's important to keep all three in mind when you're doing it. We also want to try to make good nutrition involve making it sustainable. The way, you know, the planet's going, we're running out of resources, so it's important to think of sustainable nutrition as well. The numbers are pretty outrageous how much more meats we eat in this country compared to other countries. We actually, I don't remember the exact numbers, but we feed so much vegetables to livestock that we'd pretty much be able to like get rid of hunger in the world if we just took those vegetables and used them for food instead of using them for the animals that we used to eat. But you know, just like anyone else, I love my steak too. So it's just finding that healthy balance. And the last thing is really important with good nutrition is having outcome-based goals. So you want to be honest about how well you're eating. A lot of times we think we're eating better than we actually are. And you got to be honest about the habits that you have. It's very easy late at night, you get hungry, you go for that quick snack. It's just one thing before bed. And you know, every night you do that, it adds up over time. All right. Any questions about anything I've gone over so far? Okay. So a little bit boring anatomy stuff. So this isn't going to be the perfect person, but I'm going to try here. Okay, so you have your mouth. That's where the food comes in. From there, it's going to travel down the esophagus. We're going to get our stomach in this area. Again, not the prettiest stomach. You have your small intestines, which make way into the large intestines. And then out of the body you go. Okay, so it's very easy to just eat something, tastes good, forget about it, not really think about the process it's going through. Okay, but when you eat something, it starts breaking down in your mouth, and some things actually can get absorbed in the mouth right out of the gate. So the act of chewing will actually release these enzymes that start to break down the food in the mouth, and then mainly in the stomach. Food actually takes 4 to 8 hours to travel through the small intestines, and up to 72 hours from the time you eat it to get out of your body 100% completely. The majority of absorption of these nutrients happen right here in the intestines. So, you know, someone may know someone that can't eat certain foods because they're, you know, lactose intolerant or something. It usually causes problem right here in the intestinal tract. That's where the absorption gets blocked, and it leads to malnutrition. They're not absorbing these good nutrients. And then, you know, you have other organs that are involved, like the liver, the gallbladder, that also release things, pancreas, to break down the food. And the stomach also helps to kill bacteria as well. All right, so one of the main reasons we use food is to create energy so we could live our daily life. There's 3 major energy systems in the body. The first one is the ATP PCR system. Then we have the glycolytic pathway. And oxidative phosphorylative. So these names aren't too important. The quiz won't be too hard later. I'm just kidding. But I just want you guys to get an understanding how the body works. So the first energy system, this one actually uses creatine. So some of you guys may have heard that people take creatine supplements. Okay, this is why they use creatine. This first energy system generally lasts about up to 10 seconds, 1 to 10 seconds long. Okay, so there's certain exercises in particular that's really good for. You know, short movements like a golf stroke, baseball, throwing a baseball, a sprint. Now, if you take a supplement like creatine, it can improve that one energy system right here. Okay, it's not going to affect the other energy systems because they don't use creatine, but it will help that one. Okay, then the next one, the glycolytic pathway, this one lasts 10 to 80 seconds. Okay, so this is things like your soccer game, your basketball game, your running back, you know, going for a touchdown, running from, you know, one end zone to the other, 10 to 80 seconds. And when this system gets overmatched, so this just moves down, 10 seconds ends, this system kicks on. 80 seconds ends, this system kicks on. Now this system is 80 seconds till infinity. This one just keeps going. This is the workhorse of the body, okay? What happens when you guys are exercising a long time? You're in my class, for example. After about 80 seconds of hard work, you start to breathe heavier, right? So this system uses oxygen. That's the big difference. The last system, that it gets that extra source from oxygen. The body won't be able to perform as quickly, so that's why in like heavy weightlifting activities, they're usually short movements. You have like big heavy power lifters doing big movements. They only can do a couple reps and then they're exhausted because that gives you the most power, and that's in this system. As you go down, your power decreases and the oxygen aerobic system, as you guys probably have heard it before, starts to take over. So we're going to learn about resting metabolic rate, or what is referred to as RMR. Okay, this is the minimum amount of energy that we use in a day to do the minimal functions, to breathe, to digest the food. This doesn't include exercise, doesn't include rushing to the train to get to work on time, or any of these other tasks, gardening, just the very basic things for your body to circulate the blood and just survive. So we're going to all calculate our own, or at least give it a try. We're going to use what's known as the Mifflin equation. This one's known to be about 80% accurate, which still isn't that accurate, but it's actually the most accurate formula that's out there at this time. So for men, the equation is 10 times your weight in kilograms plus 6.25 times your height in centimeters minus 5 times your age plus 5. Okay. And just so it makes it a little easier for you guys, 1 pound is equal to 0.45 kilograms. So just for the sake of it, you could just round it to a half a kilogram. And 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters, or 2.5, just for the sake of this exercise. And then, so this is men. And this is the woman equation. It's actually pretty similar except the ending. Okay. How you guys doing with that? Okay, so I actually have my example. I did for myself earlier. So we'll do it right up here. 10, my weight, 65 kilograms. My height in centimeters. I know some of these tasks may seem tedious, but you will get out of it what you put in. So this gave me approximately 1589 calories. So that's about what I burn doing nothing, just being a living species if I was a couch potato. Now, having the age factor in there does show you that age does play a factor in your metabolism to some extent. It's not as high as people believe sometimes. There have been studies where they've taken someone at the age of 25 and then again at 65, and their lifestyle stayed the same throughout those years, and they found that his metabolism stayed relatively the same. He still burned almost as many calories when he was 65 as he did when he was 25. It was off by about 50 calories, which is pretty minimal compared to how drastic most people's metabolisms do drop. Like I said earlier though, with negative energy balance or positive energy balance, that's not the only factors that are involved. There are things like your hormones, your genetics, the environment that you live in, how your digestive system works, if you have any digestive diseases or issues, things like celiacs, that will also influence your energy balance if you lose or gain weight. Anyone find out what their RMR is? A rough idea? What's that? 23? Okay. So if you get something that's, pretty high, then you figure you knock off some of those calories with exercise and better nutrition. It's not that hard to start getting into that negative energy balance.
So that's the number of calories you could eat a day?
No.
No.
That's how much calories that I burn doing nothing. The physical metabolic processes of the body, things like digestion, circulation of your blood, respiration, things like the temperature, like just being in a warm room like we're in right now. I'm burning some calories. Sleeping, you burn calories for everything. Minimal, but that's how much you would burn just doing the minimal things that your body needs to do to survive. So if you have less than that, or whatever your number is, that's not good. A lot of times, we're not giving our body enough calories, so it can go into shutdown mode. And then it really starts conserving whatever you do eat. The body is very impressive to protect itself. Okay. Anyone else need any more time with that? Any interesting findings? Anyone surprised by the number? Yeah.
I'm not sure how you do this.
Okay.
The first calculation, then you add it.
Okay. You're only here. So you take 10 times your weight, take 6.25 times your height, and then do this part, and then you do it all at the end. Yes, that whole confusing PEMDAS thing. So you want to kind of do, I'll put some brackets around here. You do that first, and that first. And then you add them together after. Thank God for smartphones, right?
What is an average woman's number? Well, I guess
It really does fluctuate. This number's gonna be lower than you think because this does not include things like going to work, doing your basic household chores. I'm not even talking about going to the gym. So that's, hopefully you should get a pretty low number.
1,429.
Right. So that's for doing nothing. Because a lot of times we undereat.
So a day I gain weight.
Okay, so then some of those other factors we talk about are definitely influencing you. Things like the hormone levels, things like a little bit of genetics. So that's why this isn't a be-all, end-all, but it's a starting point, just to get your head thinking, okay?